All right, Sefer Misvot Rambam. We are in Misvot Aseh. We are up to Mizvah Kafbet 22. We got into the series discussing Misvot relevant to the Bet HaMikdash. The first one was to make a Bet HaMikdash, which included all its vessels. And the second one is to fear, be conscious of where you are and act appropriately in the Bet HaMikdash and its confines, which included abstaining from certain activities, like not being clean and wearing your shoes and wearing your money bag, etc., taking a shortcut. Mizvah Kaf Bet. Hishisivano l'shmor hamikdash v'lalechet sibibot tamid lechabedo ulomemo ulchadelo. We also have a mizvah to keep, to guard, to maintain the Bet HaMikdash. He says that means to circulate, to honor it, to elevate it, to make sure that it's well kept and it's orderly and it's safe and secure. Sounds like a little bit of a synagogue, right? Or the opposite. Vihu umro, where's the Aharon? The source is when Hashem told Aharon, V'atau banecha ittecha lifnei oil ha'edut. Lifnei, be before or in the presence of oil ha'edut. Roshel Omar, the intention of that pasuk is, Atem to you lifnei defanai tamid. I want you, your descendants, the Kohanim, always to be there, not to get free room and board, because I need you present there to take care of it. There's another pasuk which reflects this command. They should guard, they should be on duty guarding. Oil Moed is a synonym here for the Mishkan. It says in the Midrash, the Midrash learned from that pasuk that the Kohanim are inside, so to speak, and the Leviim outside. Roshel Amar, what does that mean? In other words, the Kohanim are the interior guards and keepers, and the Leviim are the security men that are stationed on the outer part of the Mikdash. In the Midrash, it also says, other Midrash, Michlota, V'shamru et mishmeret ohel moed. What does that pasuk mean? Enli ela be'aseh, v'lo ta'aseh minayim. So that's a positive command. How do you know there's a negative command if you violate it? Tamud lamar ushmartem et mishmeret hakodesh. Ushmartem l'shmor v'shameru is always a warning not to abstain from or violate something. And here it means make sure that you guard and don't not guard, in other words, right? Double negative, but right, and so not doing that is violating a mizvat lo ta'aseh. But anyway, what do you learn from that, says the Rambam? We're in the Asehs. Well, you learn from that definitely it's considered a positive commandment, because they had to derive the fact that it's a negative commandment. That means it's an assumption that it's a positive commandment. Visham ne'emar, and there in the same Midrash it says, Gedolah le'mikdash sheyesh alav shomrim, ve'en domeh paltarin sheyesh alav shomrim, and paltarin she'en alav shomrim. How great and distinguishes the Bet HaMikdash that it has guards. You can't compare a palace with guards to one that doesn't. V'yadua ki paltarin hu shem ha'echal. Palace is a code word they're using for the hechal, the main section of the Bet HaMikdash, the Mishkan and the Bet HaMikdash, and that shows you how prestigious and distinguished it is that we station guards. Hashem gives a directive to station guards around it and in it. Amru ki gedolat ha'echal v'romamuto hem hashomrim musaderim alav. And the proof of its distinct and elevated nature are those stationed to guard it and to keep it. And these laws are in two masechtot that are not masechtot of Gemara, the only masechtot of Mishnah, to be found in the section of Chadashim. One's Tamid and one is Midot. Mizvah Kaf Gimal, number 23. Hishin istavu halviyim ba levad la'avod b'mikdash ba'avodot yudu'ot. This is only a mizvah directed to the Leviim. They have certain distinct modes of service and chores that are pointed out. Kimo na'ilat ha'sha'arim v'amirat hashir b'at ha'korban. For instance, they're the gate closers, the gatekeepers they call them, right? Huge gates, doors. The Mishkan didn't have this, but the Beit HaMikdash had this. That closed up the ulam, which is the hall of the Beit HaMikdash, and also, of course, singing the song, the appropriate songs during the time of the Korban. Those are the jobs of the Leviim. What's the source? It says in two words, Ve'abad halevi, and the Levi shall work. The Lashon Sefrei Midrash comments on that pasuk. Shomei ani im rasa ya'avod v'im lo rasa lo ya'avod. I might take and say from all the different various mentionings of the Leviim doing work that are mentioned in the Torah, avodat halviim biyah. Maybe that's optional. If they step up, then it is their place to do so. But now that it's an obligation, tamulomar va'avad halevi. Comes this pasuk in a command form and says they must serve be'al korho, against his will. Kilomar shu sivui chova mutala bechleach. Meaning, it's a direct and definite command with no option. V'zehu avodat halviim. So whenever it's mentioned in the Torah, avodat, the service or the work of the Leviim, it's referring to this mitzvah. וכבר התפעל במקומות מתמיד וממידות, ומתפעל גם כן בערך שני דערכים, שהשיר לא יאמרו תורתי הלווים. Various sources in the Torah Sheba'al Peh says that the Leviim are the only ones that can possibly sing the songs. In other words, the ones simultaneous to the Korbanot. There's another term which this command is reflective. Torah says, and he shall serve like all his brethren from Levi. Va'amar b'sheni ma'arachin ezehu shirut shehu b'shem Hashem haveh omer zot shirah. The Gemara comments on that passage. What does it mean, b'sheret, and serve? Serving means, and serving the name of God, it refers to the song. The exercise of singing is the way you serve in the name of God, which is a verbal praise and acknowledgement of HaKadosh Baruch Hu in a nice tune. Let's go to the next Mizvah, Kaf Dalet 24. Hu shesivah hakohanim l'rachos yadehem v'raglehem kol zeman sheyistarichu leikanes b'heichav v'lavod avodah. There's a positive command for the Kohanim to wash or rinse their hands and feet whenever they approach the Beit HaMikdash, Mishkan and the Beit HaMikdash, to provide service and to do their chores and their work. They have to first do this is called Kiddush Yadayim V'Raglayim, sanctifying, better word than washing, because they're not scrubbing with soap, but it's not for the purposes of dirt. They are sanctifying their hands and feet, which by virtue of walking and using their hands and the various chores they have is their service. So they're sanctifying the vehicles or the tools of service before they serve. What's the source of this? We just read this in Parashat Shekalim, that they must, in Kitisa, they must wash, not Parashat Shekalim, that's in the beginning of Kitisa, the extension of Kitisa, and talking about the Kior and Kano, they must wash their hands and feet as they approach and enter Ohel Moed. Then it was the Mishkan, and afterwards the Beit HaMikdash. If you transgress and don't fulfill the positive command, you're liable for what's called heavenly death, which is very serious. Meaning that a Kohen that served without doing this first, how do you know this is so serious? Hashem says, says, if they rinse and sanctify with the water, they won't die, implying what? If they don't, they will. Which is the source for many of the services of the Korbanot also speaks about this mitzvah. We're going to do a few other shorter mitzvot. Kafeh 25. The mitzvah of have a constant lighting and existing of the candles of the menorah. The source is Ya'aroch. This is also in Kiddusah. Ya'aroch oto Aharon u'banav. They shall set or prepare the candles, Aaron and his descendants. This is known in rabbinic language as hatabat, which means the preparation and beautification of the nerot, of the menorah. In various Masechtot discusses this mitzvah of, it can be called hatavat hanerot. It can be called the ner tamid is part of it. The Western candle that was always lit miraculously is also part of this. Of course, that's how we commemorate in every single sanctuary with a constantly lit ner tamid. But this is the mitzvah in general of lighting for the menorah and the Bet HaMikdash. Mitzvah Kafav 26, and we'll end with this. Hishesiva Kohanim lebarechet Yisrael. There's a special mitzvah with the Kohanim. Look, one just walked in the room to bless Am Yisrael. V'hu amro yit'aleh. Where's the source? It says, and this is in Parashat Ba'alotecha, Ko tabarechu et bnei Yisrael. This they must say when they bless Am Yisrael. Of course, this is referring to what we know as Birkat Kohanim, which is comprised of 3 Pesukim, Baruch Adonai Shmenecha, etc. And we consider those each pasuk to be a separate beracha, which is why we answer amen to each one separately. We're being told it's a positive commandment, and even though the Rambam is including this positive commandment in the commands and the Misvot of the Bet HaMikdash, because that's where it originated and that's where it was done so authentically and prestigiously. However, we know, according to many opinions, that this Misvah continues as a positive command. The Rambam is not elaborating here, but I'm saying that it does continue as a positive command, Mizvat Aseh, according to many opinions, on a daily basis, even here in exile, even here out of Eretz Yisrael, according to Sfaradim at least, when we do the Birkat Kohanim and Shaharit every morning. Ashkenazim do it on the holidays outside of Israel, and in Israel they do it every day as well. Three different Masechtot of Gemara discuss this mitzvah of Birkat Kohanim. Amen ve'amen.